Wow! Hi guys. Hello. Jeez Louise. Listen, Lent is over, and I am so happy that Lent is over because, child, this is my Lent. This was my Lent.
The man handled me very roughly. My shoulder is dislocated, literally. It's hurting me very badly. I'm in pain all the time. See this arm? This is as far as I can reach it. Same with this side over here.
Y'all already know, okay? And I gotta tell you, by Good Friday came and I was bawling. I was done. Like, I was crying. I'm crying in Good Friday at Mass because I just felt like I went through the fire. I went through the fire. Jesus Christ, Lord, the Father, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Trinity took me by the hair and just was raking me across the damn coals this Lent. And I have never been through a Lent like that in my life. But I'm thankful. I am so thankful because I came out of this with a whole renewal of faith, like totally. We got a lot to talk about. Okay, this is gonna be a candid conversation video because y'all saw they dropped the Jubilee on Easter. They had text us. I think it was on the 28th or the 20 something. It was like a couple of days before Easter. Like, just to let you know, we're gonna drop the video on Easter. And they didn't say on Easter. They're like March 31st. I looked at the calendar. I was like, that's Easter. Y'all are diabolical. That is of the devil. What is you doing? So I was nervous. I'm nervous all day. I'm like, oh my stars. But I'm pleasantly surprised in a good way and a bad way. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But let me talk about my Easter. So Easter was beautiful. My stars. Our church, of course, packed wall to wall. We had like layover in the parish hall. They had so many people that came to Mass on Sunday. It's beautiful, 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 beautiful. I went the week before, my friends and we went up to St Vitus for the first time. I went to St Vitus. Those of you that are in Southern California, St Vitus is like the mecca of like Tragath. Okay, you want to go to Latin Mass, you want to see a booming Latin Mass parish. They only do Latin Mass. It's like Latin. That's St. Vitus, and I finally went there and it was beautiful. It was so amazing. And I definitely am going to start going more often to the Latin Mass because I just feel I'm so called to it. So that happened. And then we had, of course, Easter Vigil, and a couple of my friends from my parish, they converted. I'm so proud of them. My friend Dina converted from Islam to Catholicism. And actually, like the week before, she brought her marriage into the church. She was convalidated with her husband, Tony, who is Catholic. And it was so beautiful, you guys. It was at the Christ Cathedral, the Crystal Cathedral out there in Orange County. And and here's a funny story. Like, I had seen the video that was going around that went viral about the cathedral. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my stars, I have to go there. It's so beautiful. And I didn't realize that we were going there until we were like 5 minutes away. And my friend is like, yeah, it's that Crystal Cathedral. I was like, are you kidding me? So it was there. It was such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ceremony. It wasn't a mass or anything, but it was like a full, that was the first time I was actually at a convalidation ceremony. And it was exactly like a matrimony, like a sacramental matrimony. The only difference was there's no mass. And I thought it was just so reverent and so just beautiful. And then my friend Cecily, who also came into the church as well. So proud of her. She's so amazing. Like, she's one of my really, really good friends out here that I've gotten close to. And this funny thing about both Dina and Cecily is that they both saw me on this channel before they came to my parish. And it's so crazy how many blessings this channel has given me and the people I've been able to meet, and just being able to speak about faith and to have these ladies and other people come to our parish and become a rich part of the community is just so amazing. And I just have so many blessings to talk about. And I have one more thing I'm going to talk about before we get into the Jubilee thing. And that is what I got when I was at Christ Cathedral. And that is this. Can you see it? This is a brown scapular. This is like a mini brown scapular. You cannot see it. It's tiny. Because since last year at the Our Lady of Guadalupe feast day that we had, and the Mass and the whole celebration that we had at my parish in December of this past year, I really had a call in my heart to consecrate my life and to the Blessed Mother. Because one of the things that brought me back to the church was really trying to figure out what it means really to be a woman out in the world. And the one thing that I remember always about my faith is that we have such great biblical examples of women. And of course, our Blessed Mother was someone that I was drawn to. And it's funny because I'd never really had a prayer relationship in that direction as much as you would expect a Catholic to until the last few years. And just really being so moved by how much she was so self-sacrificing of herself, her life, her body, her womb, and dedicating her life to Christ. And the way that she points us to Christ and how she is that example of just being completely beholden to God's will. Oh my stars, the more I think about it, the more in awe I become, because it's like, I am such a strong-willed person. I'm always trying to hold on and I don't give space for God to move through me enough. And I've been learning how to do that more and more, especially since I started veiling. Like, that's what veiling is for me, learning how to turn my will over to God and to submit to him. And this burning desire in me started to grow the more I started to dig into Marian devotion, and particularly Our Lady of Guadalupe, because here's why she speaks to me. So the story of what happened, the Spaniards went in and they were trying to convert the Aztec people, and they were just doing it in a bloody way. They were losing this. They were going to leave out of Mexico and that whole area. And we have Juan Diego and the apparition of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and her apparition caused over a 4 or 5 year period the conversion of 9 million people. 9 million willingly went to her. And every single year, you've got millions of people that go to the shrine and that go to the pilgrimages to Guadalupe, and she's still converting hearts. And I just think that is so powerful, especially given the work that I do, that I speak to so many people, so many of you. We meet in person. It feels like we have this connection and relationship because of the fact that you can relate to what I'm saying, and I'm trying to do my best to just share my faith. Listen, what do I know? Okay, I'm just over here blabbing my mouth. But to be able to have her as an example is really important to me. So I said to myself, how can I consecrate? Like, what does that even mean? I just had that urge. I want to consecrate my life and my spirituality to the Blessed Mother in that way. And that's when I started to realize, and I remember the brown scapular, or scapulars in general, because they have different ones, but I am going to do the commitment of the brown scapular. And I had gotten this when I was at the Christ Cathedral, 75 cents. Okay, it was a bargain deal, honey. And I just bought it just to buy it. And then when I started to look more into it, I'm like, that's it, dude. That's exactly what you need. So I was supposed to have this. So I talked to our pastor, and he's going to enroll me and do the whole thing. So as I go through that process, I'll let you guys know. I'm still sort of discerning it, because there's some things that I need to make sure are together in my prayer life that I'm going to have to step up in order to do this successfully and do this well. And yeah, and it's a big commitment, because once this is on, it doesn't come off. Well, you can get different ones, but that's a 24-hour thing. It's a 24-hour wear, and it's a full commitment. And I slightly love it because I love Carmelites. So I feel like I would be in solidarity with the Carmelites and be like, see, you're happy. I see. Okay. Okay. Anyway. All right. Enough of that. Let's talk Jubilee. So the episode comes out, and we do a watch party on Easter during our Easter celebration, because what else do Catholics do but watch Catholic things on Easter, right? Because yeah. And I thought that I knew that it was going to be a good discussion, because we were all very respectful and we're a more mature crowd. And I know that myself and the other Christians, we didn't say anything off kilter. I knew that it at least was going to be good. It was just going to be about the way that they edited it. And the way that they did edit it was a disappointment a bit to me, because they focused a little bit too much on the identity politics that we talked about. We got into some really great discussions around theology, like in church history and like deeper beliefs and so many other things that were more theological that they completely edited out. And even when some of the things that I had, the responses that they had shown of me speaking about, they cut it off, like the whole Pascal's wager thing. I went into like a whole thing about that. And they only got like the first few lines of what I said. I was like, yo, cut it off. Now I look crazy. But, and just some other things, like some of the things that the other side were saying as well. They did some cuts and edits that were really kind of more of a disappointment to me than anything. But I thought that it was a good discussion. I have shared it with a couple of people. And they were very happy with it. They were very impressed. They thought that I did a really good job representing the faith and just our beliefs. Listen, I did it and I just let it go. I mean, I watched it. I haven't really been in all the comments. I saw some of them. I got a couple of people welcome if you've come over from Jubilee and you're over here on my channel trying to figure out what is this girl about. It's crazy over here, child. Okay, we just do stuff. One of the things that I would say, I don't know if I would want to do another kind of debate kind of thing, because I don't like necessarily debating. Like, I don't think there's a point to debate your faith. I think that it's really important for Christians to be able to defend their faith and for you to be able to understand and to be able to do like apologetics 101, like, why do you believe what you believe? And I think that's one of the things in my faith walk that actually made me stronger in faith. Me going out and being told that what I believe is foolish nonsense, it's white people's religion, this, not the other. Like, I feel like that made me go out and say, okay, if that is true, then let me see for myself. Let me make my own decisions. And the deeper I got in studying history, the deeper I got in studying Christianity, the more Christ revealed himself to me. The more I was just like, no, like, whoa, this is real and it's true. And it made me really have a greater respect for what we believe, and just being able to understand why I believe what I believe and to articulate that. That's the number one thing. And I really encourage all of you to kind of get into that as well. The interesting thing is that even though myself and Tyler, we got into a little bit of a tit for tat in there, because listen, I'm not going to back down, but I'm also not going to act a fool. But I'm going to express myself. We got like really back and forth. And there's a couple of times in there that we had some pretty interesting exchanges. I do have to say, he did give a shout out to John Paul II. He called him, what did he call him? John II. I was like, John Paul II, because he was talking about the Black Madonna and the images, different images of Mary and Jesus, and even in the Catholic Church. So I got to give it to him. And actually, he reached out to me because he lives here in LA. And we're going to have lunch. We're going to have lunch, I think, on Sunday or so in a few days. And there's no bad blood. There's no bad blood between us. It was a civil conversation. And I think when you're talking to people who are atheist or who are agnostic or who have their own personal interpretations of Christ and Christianity, the one thing I can say is that there's no point to me in arguing with someone. I just come from a point of wanting to just understand and wanting to just hear why do you feel the way that you do. And I think that leads me to be able to just share what I know and what I believe with other people. And that, who knows, that might turn their hearts over to God. They might just be like, wow, you're actually a Christian that listens. And maybe I'll look into some of the things that you talk about. And I'm not really necessarily having conversations to like just convert someone. I'm having it just because we're talking. But I find that just listening to people is important. And I think that's one thing a lot of you can probably take away from a conversation like this, because you're dealing with people in your daily life who you might love to death and they have different beliefs than you. And it's really hard to talk about those things. Or maybe for yourself, you're someone who's out there and you are struggling with your faith and you feel that Christianity where it does have its flaws as far as the way it's implemented by man. And you're trying to figure out what you need to do. Take a step back, do the research, and just have compassion for people. Be more open about discussing things. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with people. It doesn't mean that you have to placate people. It doesn't mean that you have to let them run amok and do whatever you may be opposed to. But at the same time, everyone is given free will. So you can't, there's no point to me in arguing people down. I just don't have time for that. I don't have the time, patience, or the energy. Okay. But one of the things that I thought was an interesting takeaway conversation, going back to the identity politics and why I can kind of see why they might have made the choice they did with the edit, is that for Black people, religion and Christianity and race, those are two things that are just kind of a part of the Black American identity. And if you're not a part of the Black American experience, it's hard to kind of understand how or why that is. I mean, here in this country, even I don't care what your beliefs are, this, that, the third. I mean, we all know about the sordid stain that was in the United States, which is slavery, right? There's no way anyone can say that was what happened was okay or to justify it. It was wrong. And it affected people even to this day, as far as the transfer of wealth and certain people's ability to be able to have things and have opportunities here in the United States. And I would be remiss to say that, okay, there are certain things that I can say that generations have been affected by, of course. And then when you introduce Christianity into this mix, it becomes a little bit convoluted because on the one hand, Christianity was used to oppress. Christianity was used in order to make slaves more obedient to their masters. This is where we have Christianity being used by those who are nefarious. One of the things they cut out that I said, which was really profound, and I was hoping they would leave it in, because the whole narrative about Christianity being so terrible for Black people, how can you trust the religion of your oppressor? The one thing that we forget is that Jesus Christ taught us exactly what to do. Because Jesus Christ chose Judas. Jesus Christ already knew, he was already giving us the example that there's going to be those who are among you who are like wolves in sheep's clothing. There are going to be those who are going to betray me in front of my face. There are going to be those that I look right in the eye and I am already going to know who they are and their hearts and their darkness and their evil. And they're going to use that word against me. We already have that example in Judas. We've already heard about the warnings of the wolves in the sheep's clothing in scripture. So I can confidently say, as a Black American Christian, even more so Catholic woman, that I feel very solid in my faith because my faith isn't rooted in that evil. It's not rooted in what was twisted up, that it is Jesus Christ that I'm connected to. It is his word. It is the revelation of God through time, through the Jewish people, through the Israelites. It's the Old Testament and the New. It is the experiences of millions of people, billions of people through the ages about faith that I can understand, trust, and rely on. And not to mention all of that, but my own experiences as well. But make no mistake that within the United States, the Black church, the Black Protestant church in particular, has had a very visible anchor in the community. It has an important anchor in the community for centuries, for years. So I understand why they chose the angle that they did with the edit. I mean, think about me and this channel. The first video that I did here, I told you that my experience as a Black American, as a Christian, is that most Black people are Protestant. They're not Catholic. And how Protestants can be towards Catholics, honey. Okay, so I be getting it from other Black people about my religion and how wrong Catholicism is, and get a lot of discrimination on that end from my own folks, people who look just like me. So the whole religion and race thing, it goes hand in hand when you're talking about the Black experience in the United States. And it has hurt a lot of people. It really has. I mean, there are some really horrific things that are done in the name of God within the churches, even in the Protestant churches. Fundamentalist ideas, puritanical thinking, the homophobia, so many things that have been used to weaponize and to hurt people. And I just think that even on some of those topics, even as a Catholic, in the way that we approach things, it's more gracious, it's more loving, it's more kind, even when we are not trying to condone sin. So I think that they, again, could have made it more theological. And I know that they have a Patreon or something like that, so I don't know if the longer edit is there. But I just hope that my presence in this space continues to just inspire people to look at their faith in a different way. I think me releasing the videos of me going through desolation were a really important breakthrough for me, just not even in just a spiritual sense, and not even just in just feeling like I can just let down the walls and be myself, but it's like I feel like it opens up a new way of conversing about faith here, and how I want to just go in a different direction. Maybe things that are not as polished. Well, you can be a little polished because I can't be out here with mess, okay? Mwah, we got to get that chef's kiss because Roxy is a perfectionist. But still, I think that I really want to go in the direction of just getting down to the heart and soul of matters that means something to me, that I know probably means something to you, that'll help you to also put this Christianity thing and this Catholicism that we believe so much into action in our everyday lives as they're happening in our everyday real world lives in this modern world. That is a more important conversation in my heart, because it's all about how you're living this life, not just talking about it, but how do you live? How do you live this life? Which reminds me, they cut that out too, because we were talking about the definition of religion, right? And I was saying that in the book of James, I think it's chapter 7 or something. I think it's chapter 1. James says that true religion is how you treat the poor, how you treat the orphans, how you treat the widow. That actions is what religion, true religion, is all about. Because the conversation was like, I don't believe in religion. Well, this is what the Bible says religion is. They cut so much out, you guys. Jubilee, y'all need a second cut. I'm sorry. Y'all need another cut, because what y'all got, we were on that set for about 2.5 hours talking, and y'all only saw an hour, 50 minutes, 2.5 hours of conversation. The other 90 minutes y'all won't see. And that I think is a disservice, because so many more hearts could have been changed, or just people would have had a deeper theological discussion. And I think I saw that in the comments. People wanted to see more of that too. So anyhow, that's all I got to say. I mean, I don't have an outline of what I want. I just put the camera on, child. I'm about to go get me some food because I'm hungry. I'm going to go get me some ramen. I had not eaten ramen for 40 days. And I did have a bowl since Easter, and I'm about to have another right now. Okay. And I want to hear your thoughts. What did you think about the Jubilee thing? Some of you guys did come back and comment. I saw your comments. I have not gotten into comments, child. I've been so busy, y'all. But tell me what you think below. What do you think about the brown scapular? Do any of you do the brown scapular? Give me some advice and tips and stuff, because I'm about to go ahead and do this. We're about to do it. We're about to go full on Marian consecration with this. And that's it. So I hope that you guys had a blessed Easter. And we're gonna talk again soon. Ciao for now.